The call came in about 10:30 p.m. tonight. It came from a resident of the house.
And then I heard 2 pops. My mom screamed. I yelled out for her.
I promise you that we will leave no stone unturned in our efforts to identify and to bring to justice the suspects who brutally murdered Bin Ha Pan and terrorized her husband and daughter last night.
Sorry, I
Don't apologize, okay?
On the night of November 8th, 2010, everything was in place. Jennifer Pan had been planning the attack for weeks. She had carefully orchestrated what would look like a violent home invasion, but behind the scenes, it was a cold-blooded execution. The motive? Freedom, revenge, and possibly money. That evening, Jennifer texted her boyfriend, Daniel Wong, and a man named Lenford Crawford, a friend of Daniel's known for shady connections. He, in turn, brought in 2 other men, David Vaganum, the shooter, and Eric Carty, a late addition to the plan. Each person had a role, and Jennifer was the one who set the plan in motion. Around 9:30 p.m., Jennifer said goodnight to her parents like any other night. They settled in upstairs, unaware that their daughter was already texting the hitmen, telling them the front door would be unlocked. Minutes later, 3 armed men entered the Pan residence through the front door. Jennifer claimed she was upstairs when they arrived and that she was dragged down at gunpoint and tied to the stair railing.
Have they tied you now?
Yeah, the number 1 has tied me,
Okay.
and now they're taking me down the stairs.
Describe first how he's tied you.
He grabbed my arm, and he pulled it to the back, and said, give me your other arm as well.
Okay.
And then I was trying to make a wide X so that I could later loosen if I needed it to, but he had pulled really, really tight. And
Okay.
I guess he felt my flinch, and that's when he quickly tied the second knot, I think. I don't exactly know. All I know is I flinched, and then it got tighter.
So you were bound behind you?
Behind me, yes.
Okay.
But later evidence would suggest otherwise. She was never really bound, and her phone remained in her pocket the entire time. Downstairs, Han and Bic Pan were forced into the basement. Jennifer later said she heard her mother begging for their lives before multiple shots rang out.
Next thing I know, I think I heard my parents going down the stairs, and my mom was asking them for me to come with them. They wouldn't let me come with them. And after they said, the last things I heard them say was, you lied to us, you lied to us. And then I heard 2 pops. My mom screamed. I yelled out for her. And a couple more pops.
Take your time. Take your time.
And I think I heard my mom say or moan or something, and then they did one more before they left, and then one of the guys said, we have to go now, it's been too long. And then they ran out the door.
Her father was shot twice, but somehow survived. Her mother was executed on the spot. With the job done, the men fled, leaving Jennifer tied loosely upstairs and the house in disarray. At 10:05 p.m., she called 911.
Avenue Road. Yes. Do you spell the name for me, please? Dad? Ma'am. Hello. Hello. Yes. Ma'am, I need to know your address. Avenue Road. Can you please spell it? Helen Avenue. My dad just went outside screaming. Ma'am, can you spell the street address for me, please? H-E-L-E-N. So broken, and I heard shots like pops. I don't know what's happening. I'm tied upstairs.
The operator's recording captures Jennifer's voice trembling, gasping for breath, portraying the role of a terrified daughter watching her family fall apart. But something was off. When police arrived, they found no signs of forced entry. The house was relatively undisturbed for what was supposedly a violent robbery. Jewelry and valuables were left untouched, and strangest of all, Jennifer's demeanor seemed too composed. Her story didn't add up.
And a guy was there, and he came at me and had string in his hands and tied my arms back and said, "I have a gun behind your back. Do what I say. If you do what I say, then no one will get hurt. Where is the money? Show me where your money is." I have still a bit of money put aside from when I was waitressing, cash. So I showed him where it was, and he took it and put it in his pocket, I think. And then that's where they pushed me to my parents' room and asked me where the money was there, and I didn't really know. So they kind of like, one was right beside me, blocking my way to the door, while the other ones turned over the bed to find some more cash in my mom's bedside table.
In the ambulance, Han Pan, bleeding, barely conscious, managed to tell officers a crucial detail. He saw his daughter talking to the intruders like she knew them. That changed everything. Suddenly, Jennifer was no longer a victim. She was a suspect. Detectives began watching her closely. They analyzed her phone logs, her text messages, and her social media. What they found was damning. Dozens of messages coordinating the timeline of the attack, using code words, timestamps, and even a payment offer of $10,000. They confronted her days later in an interrogation room. Jennifer maintained her innocence, until she couldn't anymore.
Weird, I still his number.
Okay, and what's his number?
I don't memorize it.
Where can we find it?
On the cell phone. And on the other cell phone, on the cell phone.
On the Bell cell phone?
Yeah.
Where's that phone now?
I don't know what the SIM card is.
Okay, and how did you get a hold of this person?
Called him up.
And what did you say to him?
We're supposed to have to right there.
Okay, I appreciate that. How did it happen? How did they get there?
I don't know how they got there.
What was your request?
Come in and take me up.
How would they know who you were?
I was the only young girl in the house.
And what did you discuss with this person?
And I'd have money. And they'd to come take me out and then take it. Leave it.
And how much was he going to charge for it then? Okay. Now, the guy you spoke to on the phone is the guy that showed up and you gave the money to.
I don't know if that was the same guy. I've never met him before.
Okay, did he say his name was?
The calm homeboy.
Okay.
Over hours of questioning, on tape, her story shifted multiple times, each version more contradictory than the last. And eventually, she broke. She admitted to organizing the hit, but insisted it was meant only for her, not her parents. By then, the police knew that was another lie.
You had to tell him what you wanted, though.
I told him that I wanted to be killed.
And did he think that was something crazy?
He said, "Are you sure that's what you want?" And I said, "Yes."
Because I don't think many people get that request. Do you?
No, but that's what I wanted. And he asked me over and over just to make sure I was sure. And I said I was sure.
Okay, so what did you ask him to do then?
Come take me out and then leave.
Okay. Why did they do it when you were, when your parents were there then?
Never alone. In the nighttime.
Okay.
As soon as Han Pan regained consciousness, the investigation took a sharp turn. Despite having been shot twice in the face, losing vision in one eye, and enduring lifelong damage, Han told investigators something chilling. He remembered seeing Jennifer walking around freely, speaking with the intruders and not once acting afraid. He said she was not tied up, and at no point did she scream or plead for help, while her parents were being marched to the basement. Jennifer's carefully staged performance was falling apart. Detectives from the York Regional Police began combing through every detail of her story. Surveillance footage, cell phone records, and financial transactions were pulled. Her phone data revealed something explosive: a pattern of communication with Daniel Wong, Lenford Crawford, and David Milvaganam in the days and even hours leading up to the attack. Worse, they uncovered that this wasn't the first time Jennifer had plotted something sinister. Months earlier, she had allegedly asked an acquaintance if he could help kill her parents, offering money in return. That attempt never materialized, but it clearly showed intent. She wasn't acting on impulse. She had been planning their deaths for a long time. On November 12, 2010, just 4 days after the murder, police brought Jennifer back in for a second interview. This time, it wasn't just a chat, it was a full-blown interrogation. She sat in a grey room, her voice soft, her demeanor calm. Detectives confronted her with the inconsistencies. Why was her phone still in her waistband if she was tied up?
The only reason that I need to do this is that I'm also going to ask you is that so take this back take it out of a traumatizing event, which it is, and put yourself into a more clinical position, because I want to see how you could physically get your phone out of your waistband. We're obviously going to need to know that. It's very important. So traumatize away, now put yourself into just a state of, I need to mechanically show how I can get access to my phone. Okay, because that's obviously very relevant. We know you made the phone call, but questions are going to obviously raise is that if my hands are bound and I'm against a railing, how do I talk to a 911 operator? Okay, so clinically, this is now a clinical demonstration. Just stand up, focus in on how you did it. And I want you to stick that in your waistband as an example. Okay, so just take your sweater off, because this will be a very smooth, very quick thing. It's a one-time demonstration. I'm not going to ask you to repeat it, but I need to go through it. Okay, so just take your sweater off. Stand up and turn around. Put this in the side that you believe it was in. Great. Turn around. So that you're looking away from me. You're looking exactly like, now here is where the banister is. Put your hands back behind your back, exactly how you remember they were. Okay? Now, and are you restrained from movement? How far can you move your hands from the banister?
They tied my upper arm.
Yes?
Around the banister.
Yes?
But my hands were bound together.
So your hands bound together, and this is the arm that's the strings wrapped around against the banister?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now how can you get to the phone? And how do you make the phone call? 911?
Mm-hmm.
And do you talk down like that?
Yes, I'm yelling at the phone like this.
And how can you hear?
I turned the volume on max.
Yes? So that's exactly the way that you're talking to her against the railing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good enough. Sit down. Put your sweater back on.
How did the attackers know exactly where her parents' bedroom was? Why didn't they take any valuables?
Did you see them recover anything inside your mom and dad's room?
I did not see anything, no.
Are you sure? Because when we spoke the last time, there was some mention of some other money that went missing.
Yes, the U.S. currency.
So how did that get found?
I believe when they were looking for my father's wallet, they had opened the drawer. And it was in an envelope.
What drawer would that have been in?
If you're at the doorway where I was standing on the left side, the bedside table.
Whose side of the bed is it?
That's my mother's side of the bed.
Okay. And approximately how much money?
I'm not sure how much she took out for our trip. But I can only estimate about a few $100s.
Few hundred, because at the time, the last time
Or
you told me, you were pretty adamant about
$1,100.
$1,100. So I'm curious to know how you came up with that number.
I believe is when we were at the border, we stopped at the duty free. My mother was deciding whether to use her U.S. currency or her U.S. currency or her Canadian currency.
So it was at that time you remember hearing $1,100, and is that the inference you're saying? Is that because you're pretty solid, saying that it was $1,100 that went missing, that was taken, and that you saw it when we spoke, and who took it, who took possession of the money.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
For hours, Jennifer stuck to her story. Then, suddenly, she cracked. In a halting voice, she began to change her narrative, claiming she had indeed hired the intruders, but only to kill her, not her parents.
When he came to your room,
Yes.
what discussions did you have with the guy that came to your room? The real discussions you had, not what you told us.
Where was the money? And I showed him where the money was.
Okay? But he obviously said, I'm here to do what you asked.
He never said anything like that.
What did he say?
Just like hands behind your back.
So the money you gave him was payment for killing you? Is that he wanted $2,000?
Yes.
When did he give you that figure of $2,000?
In one of our phone conversations.
Okay, what's that?
In one of our phone conversations.
Okay.
A bizarre twist. According to her new version, she was depressed, had failed her family, and wanted to die, but couldn't bring herself to commit suicide. So, she hired hitmen to kill her in a staged robbery gone wrong. But the evidence didn't support that. Not even close. Detectives knew this was just another lie in a long history of deception, and they were ready to build their case.
Okay. Remember everything I told you about what I do for a living? Okay. I'm an expert in determining truth and half-truths. Okay. What you've just told me is half the truth. Okay? Now, what I do believe is that you went to somebody. And I do believe that night you paid them the $2,000. Okay? That's the true part. Okay? Right? But what's not true is it was never for you. Okay, Jen, no. Okay, you went to this person and you asked them to do a job. And the job was for your parents. Okay, that's what we got to get to here. Okay? I know that's what really happened, Jen. Okay? That's what really happened. Okay, so you've done good here. You're telling me half the truth. I'm going to get the other half out here.
By the end of November, police had arrested Jennifer Pan, Daniel Wong, Lenford Crawford, and David Milvaganam. A fifth man, Eric Carty, was later arrested separately. He would eventually die in custody before facing trial, but his name was deeply tied to the case. The discovery of Jennifer's fabricated life shocked the entire community. Report cards, university acceptance letters, pharmacy school transcripts, all fake. Her parents had believed she was about to graduate as a pharmacist. In reality, she had never even finished high school. The motive became clearer with every new piece of evidence. Jennifer's entire life was a lie built to gain her parents' approval, and when it collapsed, she chose violence over the truth. In March 2014, more than 3 years after the murder, the trial of Jennifer Pan and her co-conspirators began at the Newmarket Courthouse in Ontario. The courtroom was packed. Journalists, true crime followers, and shocked community members gathered to witness the unraveling of a case that had captivated the nation. Jennifer sat quietly, often wearing glasses and a neutral expression, flanked by her 3 co-accused, Daniel Wong, Lenford Crawford, and David Milvaganam. All 4 had pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy to commit murder. But prosecutors were ready to show that this wasn't a robbery gone wrong. It was a carefully orchestrated plan led by Jennifer Pan. Despite his injuries, Han took the stand. The courtroom fell silent as he recounted the night he was shot. He described seeing his daughter walking around, unrestrained, and noted how calm she had seemed during the ordeal. His words painted a picture of betrayal that no father should ever have to speak. Jennifer's defense tried to cast doubt on her intent. They claimed she had suffered emotional abuse, that she felt suffocated by her parents' control, and that she never meant for them to die. They leaned on the earlier claim that Jennifer only wanted to die herself and had misunderstood the killer's intentions. But the prosecution was relentless. They exposed her years of lies, fabricated school documents, false job claims, double lives, and secret relationships. They highlighted her financial motive, her desperation to be with Daniel, and the planning that went into every detail of the murder plot. The trial lasted nearly 10 months. The jury deliberated for just over 48 hours. In December 2014, the verdict was read. Jennifer Pan was found guilty of first-degree murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy to commit murder. So were her 3 co-accused. All 4 received life sentences, with no possibility of parole for 25 years. But the story didn't end there. In May 2023, nearly a decade after the convictions, the Ontario Court of Appeal ruled that the jury had not been properly instructed on considering lesser charges like second-degree murder or manslaughter. While Jennifer's attempted murder conviction remained upheld, her murder conviction was overturned and a new trial was ordered. In April 2025, the Supreme Court of Canada upheld that decision, meaning Jennifer Pan and her co-conspirators must once again stand trial for the first-degree murder of Bik Ha Pan. After more than a decade, the case that once seemed closed was reopened, dragging the Pan family and the public back into the shadows of a crime that still haunts the nation. For most people, home is where they feel safest. For Han Pan, it became the place where his life was destroyed. After surviving 2 gunshot wounds, one to the face, one to the shoulder, Han Pan emerged from a coma to a world that would never be the same. His wife of over 30 years, Bik Ha Pan, was gone. His daughter, whom he had once proudly called his golden child, had orchestrated the entire crime. The physical wounds left Han permanently disfigured and partially blind, but it was the emotional trauma that cut even deeper. During his victim impact statement delivered at sentencing in 2015, Han spoke with heartbreaking clarity. "I hope my daughter Jennifer thinks about what has happened every day and how she has destroyed our family. I can no longer find joy in life." He went on to explain that he had lost not just his wife but also his home, his health, and the relationship with both of his children. Felix Pan, Jennifer's younger brother, cut ties with her immediately. He also moved away and changed his name, choosing to disappear from the media spotlight. The once proud Pan family home, located at 238 Helen Avenue in Markham, was eventually sold, unable to escape its horrific history. Neighbors, many of whom had lived on the street for decades, said the home no longer felt like part of the neighborhood. It stood as a ghost of what had once been a model immigrant family's success story. Jennifer, meanwhile, remained behind bars at the Grand Valley Institution for Women in Kitchener, Ontario, serving out her life sentence as the appeals process unfolded. Her co-defendants were incarcerated in separate federal prisons. But the appeal in 2023 and the Supreme Court ruling in 2025 rekindled the pain all over again. What had once been considered resolved was now back in courtrooms, headlines, and family wounds. For the public, Jennifer Pan became a symbol of duplicity hidden behind a mask of perfection.
They were just really quiet people. They didn't bug anyone. Yeah, it's really sad.
The randomness really scares me. It's, if there was a motivation, if there's reason, then we can all say, oh, they had the reason why.
She was a warning of what happens when unchecked pressure, unrealistic expectations, and years of deception collide in the most catastrophic way. The media coverage remained extensive. Documentaries, podcasts, and YouTube videos continued to dissect every detail of the crime, from her double life to the psychology behind her actions. Some labeled her a sociopath, others a product of oppressive parenting. But the facts remained unchanged. Jennifer Pan made a choice, and that choice cost a woman her life and destroyed a family forever. Even in prison, Jennifer's story was far from over. The new trial on first-degree murder charges loomed ahead, threatening to reopen old wounds and spark new legal challenges. The Pan family name, once associated with quiet resilience and immigrant success, would now always be remembered for one of Canada's most shocking betrayals, a daughter who played the perfect role until it became deadly. Jennifer Pan's story is not just about a crime, it's about the collapse of a carefully constructed illusion. For years, she lived two lives, one that pleased her parents and another that hid the truth. But when those two worlds collided, she chose not to come clean. She chose murder. Her downfall wasn't sudden. It was slow, calculated, and buried beneath layers of deceit. Grades she never earned, schools she never attended, degrees she never received. And when the pressure of truth grew too heavy, Jennifer made a decision that would cost her everything: her family, her freedom, and her future. What makes this case so disturbing isn't just the act itself, it's the methodical planning, the calm manipulation, and the betrayal of the very people who loved her most. It wasn't rage, it wasn't heat of the moment, it was a blueprint, one she executed almost perfectly, until it fell apart under the weight of evidence and a father who miraculously survived. But even with convictions, appeals, and headlines, the Jennifer Pan case leaves behind questions that still haunt those who followed it. Was Jennifer a victim of parental pressure, or simply someone who never learned to face failure? Could therapy, honesty, or a single moment of courage have changed everything? Or was this tragedy always inevitable? One lie too many, one mask too well worn. Today, as Jennifer awaits a retrial for her mother's murder, she remains a symbol of something far greater than a family tragedy. She represents the dark side of perfectionism, the danger that lies beneath when children are taught to fear failure more than they're taught to tell the truth. In the end, Jennifer Pan didn't just destroy a family. She destroyed the illusion that she had built her entire life around. And for that, she will pay the price for the rest of her life.